Good morning again, and welcome back to the Bobby Dupre Show. And we're going into the second quarter, and my sidekick here, Andrew.
Still kicking.
Why don't we get a couple of sponsors, because
that.
we don't want to jam them up at the end.
You're right.
Sir.
How about the Medicine Shop Pharmacy? If you got a throat sounds like mine, you got to get a little things done, go by, get you a couple of those antihistamines over the counter that you can get a hold of, some of that over-the-counter Claritin or Allegra and all that. You can get some of that nasal spray to help clear up your nose. They'll help you with all that. I know everybody's fighting allergies right now. The Medicine Shop can do all that for you. They've got good diabetic products as well, good discounts. If you're in a group plan or an older adult or a preschooler, they have good discounts associated with them. A lot of screening if you want to go by and get screened for different tests for your cholesterol and all that. They provide those type of services there. And don't forget about their weight loss program there. They sell those special made meals and they coach you for free. And when talk about coaching, they tell you what's the best size meal for you to handle at your weight and your goals, and they can help you lose that weight. You go there, you get, nobody's got time to sit down and start cooking and go buy all this weird stuff to start to put together. Nice pre-done meals, so you just got to heat them up and go and eat. They'll help you there at the Medicine Shop there at Underpond. And one more, how about the Pig?
The Pig, yes, sir.
Go by the Pig. I was there this weekend as well, and I got me a good stuffed pork roast again. I like a pork roast. Now, I cook that on a weekend. If I got a long day, that's what gets put in the pot.
Slice that, make a good sandwich.
Oh, I like them, and I like a little bit of fat on them. Make a little gratin when I brown it. Good stuffed pork roast.
Sounds like you know how to cook.
Oh, or at least I.
But if you don't know how,
if I don't
you
know,
can
my
get.
wife knows how.
when you go to the Piggly Wiggly
Right.
South, you can talk to Jody, the manager.
He'll tell you exactly what's going on.
He
Joe.
has the cooking show on this
That's
station.
correct, on what you cook, on what's cooking here on KDCG. But they got the south end, the north end, and a location also in Simsport. Right now they got the sirloin in pork chops, $1.18 a pound, whole fries, 88 cents a pound, fresh ground chuck, $2.98 a pound, and a whole smoke picnic ham, 98 cents a pound. Go by the Pig. The Pig knows best.
And over in Breaux Bridge, the Tesh News has a real nice opening, I guess you'd say, story about Breaux Bridge is booming. And I can attest to that. I've been there several times recently. I started going there to go over to Buck and Johnny's. Mr. Johnny and Mr. Buck opened a restaurant in the old Domain Chevrolet building. They renovated it beautifully. Great food over there.
Buck and Johnny's?
Buck and Johnny's. And now, due to timelines, building of a few buildings on Reese Street. I call it the main street, the main drag when you turn off the interstate and going down into the town to take a right, cross the bridge, and then a couple of blocks later is where Buck and Johnny's is. Well, from the time you get off the interstate till you get to Buck and Johnny's, it's just one business after another. And yes, it is booming. And Timeline has played a nice role in that. And if you're interested in maybe getting a building designed, a home design, contact Kendall Broussard, my partner, and he's a licensed Louisiana architect, graduate of UL, which is highly, spoken of, regarded for their architectural school there. And we, of course, built a bank there, Community First Bank, and Lourdes After Hours, and the strip mall that's being completed as we speak. And so, yes, it's booming, and I'm happy to say that Timeline Builders had a good role to play, and we thank, and we particularly, I guess we have to thank Robert Minyard, who's a developer and a real estate agent, by the way, in the business. But he has developed a number of rental units and units that he leases out, and he has favored Kendall with a lot of the business, and we thank you, Robert.
There you go. We've got the third annual Opelousas Catholic Sporting Clay Challenge. It's not coming up till May 11th, but I know a lot of people like to book these things ahead for the big teams at the Long River Lodge. The Canatellas have that beautiful lodge down around Melville. So if you want more information, give our good friend Jude Arman a call, 351-2304. Boy, he boiled some crawfish this past weekend for the Dupree Carrier crawfish boil. You talk about it was good. Jude, my wife said, Jude ought to do that for a living. I said, well, that's what he's doing right now for a living. He's doing it for the boss.
Doing it for the employees. Make sure that when he calls in to get a quotation for one of his clients, they're going to get the quote right away. React properly when pulled over. You know, we had tried to get going and having Sheriff BOBBY002's little article, have him on the program, but we haven't done that yet, have we? No, not yet. Okay. Steve says no. But we need to follow through on that because it's very interesting questions that he's...
He talks about how not to look threatening to the police officer who's coming up to your vehicle.
What should I do if I am stopped by an officer? First of all, you pull over to as far right as you possibly can for safety reasons. Should remain in your vehicle. First, roll your window all the way down. You also want to turn off the engine, place your hands on the steering wheel. Then that they know that you're clear. You don't have a pistolet.
You're not reaching underneath to grab a gun, a beer, or whatever.
Don't worry about getting out your driver's license and all of your papers. Let the officer get to you, or he'll instruct you on his speaker system in his car. He might tell you to get that, but then you do it, but not until then. Keep your hands where he can see them. And then he'll ask you for the information, and always be polite and nice as you possibly can, because when you sassy the officer, you give him reason to believe that you're being belligerent.
Cool.
That's a big word from plays on. When you belligerent, they write those statements on the back of the card. A lot of people don't realize that. I forget to tell you all about those kind of things. So you don't want those kind of things, because they can maybe they've got 3 charges against you. Might be one major, and then they wonder why you got it. Well, it's kind of goes with your behavior. So anyhow, Bobby, continue the source, and we'll try to bring forward these. This was the one that was presented on Monday, April the 8th in the Daily World. Thank you, Sheriff.
How about a scholarship? You need a scholarship from Slimco. They're giving $22,000, 20 different $2,000 scholarships. I say that so fast, I got to break it up. So if you one of 20 people, you got a chance to win. Everybody's got an equal chance. You got to be under 24 years old. You got to be a child of a Slimco customer or a Slimco customer yourself. You have until May 2nd to send your application in to scholarship@slimco.com. Just go to slimco.com and download the application, or you can call them 896-2520, and they're going to give them away at the annual meeting at the Cajun Dome, June 1st, 2013. You can get there about 6 in the morning and drink coffee and dance and have a very good time.
On recent deaths, one young man that I never had the opportunity to ever see him, but I had heard a lot about he and his life that was almost taken from him many, many years ago. And I'm speaking of Scott Brady Frederick. He was born on January the 5th, 1973, and his death occurred April the 10th of 2013. Sometime soon after college, he graduated from UL. Sometime soon after that, he had an accident when he was in a vehicle, and according to his nanny, Vicky Fredericks, his aunt, it was not, he was going very slow at the time of the accident. It happened in Lafayette, but he came out of it in a crippled for life. Never was able to care for himself. His mama Deborah and his daddy Glenn had to give 24-hour-a-day constant care for him. And he died and was buried this past Friday, April the 12th. Very, very sad commentary, I guess you could say. It's strange how he lived all these years, and there was really no chance of him ever getting very much better. I know Glenn, the father, well. Can't say that I know the mama. I guess she stayed at home most of the time with him, is what I understand. And they live in Abbeville. And then last week, at the crawfish boil, and we're going to show a picture of young man Kyle Ford, asked if I had heard that Clay Mesh had gotten killed in a riding of a horse over at Delta Downs. Delta Downs racing, it was not in a race. They were
in the evening, I think they were working out some horses. Yeah, in the evening
they were working out some horses under the lights to get them familiar. I guess it was probably a young horse. Something happened, the horse stumbled, fell, and he landed, he fell on his head, I understand, and I think Kyle told me that Clay died almost immediately right there on the track. A very, very unusual type of accident, and I can't say that I personally remember Clay, but you see all these little fellas at about 115 pounds.
Not big guys.
Not big guys, and it's a very unusual that he fell and it either broke his neck or something happened in the skull, but anyhow, he died. And another death I want to bring to you is Professor George Bradley. Now, he was a professor at UL for many, many years, and hails from Opelousas, born here in Opelousas. He was age 82, and quite a very interesting obituary. And of course,
that's John Bradley's brother.
Well, that's
yeah.
Got that right here. Got that right here. He had two brothers, Joe Bradley and of course John Bradley, who was well known verbal. His wife survived. John also has passed quite a number of years ago. John Bradley is the father of Ed Bradley, who we've talked about, John Ed, the writer. But John Bradley was with the St. Leonard Parish School System for many years in various administrative positions, and a family well known. I remember George, much younger than him. I'm 76. What he's 82. What is that? 6 years difference. Quite a bit of difference. But you always know the people older than you, and he was. I don't know if he ever ran. Something keeps telling me, and I wanted to call his sister Mary Bradley, who lives. Mary and her husband Manny live here, and she's one of my sweethearts. We just, she was a grade ahead of me. We're about the same age, but she was a grade ahead of me in school. And I don't know, she's just one of those personality people. And I just always can say I love her. You know, she's that type of person. And I met one of his daughters, Angie Morrow, and her husband Andre. They have a title company, and when I bought that property to build those 3 spec houses, they were the closing, and I met Morgan Goodall's daughter that day. You remember in that picture we spoke about her? I can't think of her name right off the hand, but that was the same time that I met his daughter. And he had 3 daughters, and let me get how many sons he had.
6.
6 sons. He had an adopted son, and he had 3 foster children.
Wow. That's a man.
What a man. What he left a real history behind. Anyhow, to the Bradley family, my deepest sympathies. I'll close that one out.
We'll see y'all on the other side of 1 minute after halftime.